Were there any special requirements in regards of authenticity that you had to fulfill for the movie? Like the costume, language, something?
I had to grow my own mustache and sideburns. That was some real authentic stuff, you know.
Yeah.
That wasn't stick-on.
You had proper mutton chops, didn't you?
Big mutton chops.
Huge.
Another thing was in my costume I had like a whole corset, so underneath, and like these trouser corsets or something. It was a part of that era in time. They were really uncomfortable, but you know, I committed to that for authenticity. What about you?
What did I do? Yeah, costume is probably a huge part of it. Both Lily and I were in really intense, cool, like period accurate corseting. And I think the thing I wasn't expecting was the weight of the skirts. There's so much fabric that is sort of draped over this like sort of boning that hangs down from the skirt. And just living with that every day, I think it really changed the atmosphere on set as well, because I think normally on set, if you're doing something contemporary or with less intense costumes, you can sort of lounge around and chat and hang out. But because everyone was sort of so upright and, you know, dealing with so much fabric, and it kind of made for a really, I think, focused atmosphere, which is interesting. And I think that's also to do with the way Rob works, where he just demands a lot of focus, which is good.
Did you prepare in any other way for the project compared to other movies?
Rob gave me a couple pages of like a little Bible, a character Bible. So it talked about how Anna grew up and how she was raised, and she was raised in a Lutheran family, and detailed the moment that Anna and Friedrich met, which was on a dance floor. Dance floor makes it sound like a disco, but it was like
doing some serious
moves. Even so far as to say the song that was playing, like the particular refrain of
2 minutes in.
2 minutes in of like this particular sonata, and yeah, it was really detailed. And then how she met Lily's character as well. So it's like a lot of detail, which is, and I kind of love that about the way Rob works, because you won't use much of it explicitly in the film, but it's the fact that you know it and the fact that, yeah, the knowledge is there, which is meaningful.
Did you get such a Bible as well?
I probably did. Not that I don't do research, or if I did, I didn't read it, but I don't think that was the case. I don't think I got one, but we definitely discussed, you know, how he came into fortune. Like, he's a ship merchant and inherited this fortune, and so. Yeah, so there's all these amazing, in the production design, you'll see all these amazing wooden ships that were built in their billiard room, or whatever that room is. It's not even billiards, it's some other game of that era and time.
Is it?
No, but you like hit a ball, has to hit the white ball and
like a very early version of
something, I don't know. I've literally forgotten all these things, but when you're in it, you're like, you know, you're so focused. Yeah, these ships were built, they were like his father's ships, and they were replicas of these real ships of that era and time. Some of them were like antiques and stuff, so there's a lot. He grounds it in reality, for sure.
And not regarding this, did you film in Germany, and did you eat something special that you didn't eat before?
We filmed in Prague.
We filmed in Prague?
Yeah, the whole time. And a lot of it was in studio and built sets, incredible built sets. But we ate a lot at this place called Cantina, which we were obsessed with.
Which kind of has a very similar German sort of thing. It was a lot of, you know, your sauerkraut and things like that. Meat and that potato pancakey thing.
Oh, that was great. Yeah.
I don't know what that's called in Germany. You have that, right?
I think so. It's called.
There was like some potato rosti thing.
Yeah,
like that.
Something like Apfelpuffer, I think. Well, and finally, a kind of silly question: do you know the Nosferatu scene from SpongeBob SquarePants?
No, but I thought you was gonna say, did you know the Nosferatu like theme song or something? Like you were gonna like,
What's the Nosferatu SpongeBob SquarePants?
It's just a little thing where Nosferatu pops up in one episode, flicks on the light, flicks out the light, and this is his whole scary bit, and that's
amazing.
It's funny.
Rob really missed a trick there. Yeah. Like a SpongeBob SquarePants Easter eggs.
Yeah. In the kids' room. SpongeBob.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's actually everything I have. Did you prepare your acting talents in any specific way for Nosferatu compared to your other movies?
Yeah, actually, you know, I generally haven't made my or ask my actors to watch a lot of other films beforehand, but I did. I had a sort of playlist of films that I gave to Nicholas Hoult, a different playlist for Lily Rose Depp, a different playlist for Emma Corrin, and so on. But yeah, there were certain like performance styles that I was looking for, and also some films that could kind of help point them in the direction of the etiquette of the period, and kind of get a feeling for, you know, how to hold themselves, how to posture themselves, how to behave with the period manners. Obviously, we had we had experts we were working with who could also consult on that things, but it was a nice place to begin with.
Can you tell me about the movies you had to watch?
Yeah, there were some Bergman movies, Wachowski movies. There was The Third Part of the Night was the one that I found probably most helpful performance-wise in that selection. And then there was like Angels and Insects, Mark Rylance in that. His performance, the character he played there. So yeah, there was a selection of things. And it's kind of a wonderful way of, through osmosis, kind of, yeah, getting a sense of the world that Rob imagines. You know, obviously it's different, but that kind of authenticity, as you say, of what we're going to be creating in this movie.
What was it for both of you that fascinates you about Nosferatu, the story?
I mean, for me, originally, when I saw the film for the first time when I was 9, and it is Max Schreck's performance that is so like uncanny, and the makeup design that he did, it's his design, and the haunting atmosphere of the Murnau film that's kind of unparalleled, and also that the way that Murnau and his collaborators constructed the story, they turned the Stoker novel into a simple fairy tale, which I find more satisfying, you know, than sort of the complications of that late Victorian one.
Yeah, the fairy tale elements of it is something, you know, you can kind of inspect human emotions in a way where you can slightly remove yourself from them, but then they affect you even more than if it was kind of a straight telling of the story. So those are the aspects that I get interested in, because, you know, you can look at human mortality and everything else in a kind of a sublime, transportive way.
Emma told me about the costuming. Do you have anything to add to that as well? Oh,
Linda's costumes are beautiful. The detail. This is something that, you know, Rob's so well researched and detailed in the history and the authenticity of the world he's building. That siphons down through every member of the cast and crew, and Linda did just an amazing job. Again, with every, you know, being like, this is the fabric that Aaron's character would wear because it's slightly more luxurious and he had slightly more wealth than your character. So you have like this version, which it's nice, but it's not, you know, you can't afford the same as him. And the details like that really inform a character. And then obviously when you're wearing them, how you move and stand and carry yourself is affected by that as well. So it's a huge part of creating the character in the world.
The thing is, like, the more, for my philosophy is, the more detail you have in the material world, being as accurate as you can have it be to the period, but also the interior world of the characters and in the script writing and what they're saying and how they're thinking about the world, the more that is grounded and realized, the more that hopefully an audience can believe in a metaphysical thing like a vampire, you know?
Totally. Can you tell me about the different places where you shot the movie?
We shot everything in the Czech Republic. We did some plate shots of Hunedoara Castle in Transylvania. So the castle exterior is in Transylvania, and there's a couple other landscapes in Transylvania. But the Transylvanian village we built in the Czech Republic, and you know, based on places that we scouted in Transylvania, and also we went to Lübeck and Stade and Bremen and a bunch of other northern German towns, and also Gdansk in Poland, which all sort of influenced the look of the fictional Baltic port city of Visburg.
I have a silly question for last. Do you know the Nosferatu scene from SpongeBob SquarePants?
I don't.
I do. There's no way I could have not somehow become aware of it. But when it first came up in social media, like years ago, related to me, I did not know what it was originally.
You know it as well?
No, I don't know it. I better check it out.
You should. How did you, Bill, prepare to get into role?
Go, Gay, you're in for a treat. Yeah, well, you know, I've been dying to work with Robert for a very long time. I was supposed to be in The Northman, and COVID happened. We were camera testing when COVID happened. So and then of course the scheduling happened with me, and I couldn't be a part of it. I was initially cast as Thomas Hutter in Nosferatu almost 10 years ago. So yeah, and then when this came about, I was very surprised that he even considered me for Orlok, and then yeah, then my terror of not knowing if I could do it or not motivated me to work really, really hard on it. Yeah, again, I think the voice and the breath, and I knew that because it's a very beautifully descriptive script that he writes, so there's all these little tools. I mean, it's like when I've worked on adapting books as well, and a book is such a great resource to have as an actor, because they're so much more descriptive than a script is. But Robert's scripts and they're not overly descriptive, they're very precise, but there's all these little clues to who the character is in a beautiful way, and yeah, and then worked with an opera singer and all of this to kind of find the technique of the voice, and I also knew that as it's described in the movie, in the script, Orlok lives in the shadows until he doesn't, but he lives in the shadows for a long time in the movie, and I knew that Robert wanted to shoot it that way, that the voice is the thing. The voice is what carries these scenes. You don't even get to see the guy who's speaking, and the voice became the voice, and the breath became the way of expressing him. Yeah.
Willem,
yes.
You kind of played Orlok yourself
yes.
quite a while ago. How was it?
Good. I mean, that's a long time ago. It's a very different movie. You're talking about Shadow of the Vampire, which was 2001. Very different because it's sort of a comedy. A weird comedy, but a comedy. But the beautiful thing is, to prepare for it, I watched Nosferatu a lot, because I basically copied Max Schreck's performance to prepare for that role. And so that was in my head. And when we were doing this, I had no interest in really returning to it, because you want to, you know, cleanse yourself of a certain kind of expectation. I think of, I heard Orson Welles talking about, you know, the danger of watching too many films. I guess I'd have to talk about Robert to that, because, you know, you don't want to imitate, and you don't want to be afraid not to imitate,
yes,
you know.
Yes.
But yeah, I had a relationship to that material, and I don't know. I grew up on horror movies. It's not probably my favorite genre, but you know, I've watched a lot of vampire or Dracula-related movies over the years. This just seemed really fresh, and another opportunity to work with a great filmmaker. So, also the beauty was that I had a character that's very Van Helsing-like, but it's an original character, and it's a character that I think Robert would play if he was an actor in this movie. So he wrote it with a lot of love and a sense of humor and a sense of an outsider's view, which is always attractive to me, because it's nice to take characters that have a perspective that doesn't confirm what we already know, but kind of introduces us to the possibility of things that we haven't thought about. And that's always fun to play.